Man, it's me.
Got it.
Is it weird to you? I mean, I'm still kind of trying to get comfortable with it.
Did she hold the door for you?
Yo, no, we're not.
I could see a pedicure.
Would you do?
Depends on his feet.
That could be Mara's feet, and you can do it.
No way, you about to be cutting up my hands.
Yo, what's going on? This is
The Tim and Tam talk. All right, look, bring it home. Let's get into this.
We're gonna have a lot of great conversations. Yo, what's up, everybody? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Back Pew Conversations, Tim and Tam Talks. I'm your co-host, Tim Nicholas.
And I'm Tam. What's up, y'all?
What's up, y'all? What's up, Tam? It has been a minute.
Oh my gosh. It's been like, what, a month? It's been a month. We went on I would say, I blame me. We went on a hiatus because of me, because I had to move. But yeah, it's good to be back.
Hey, it's good to have you back. I hope that you are settled into your new digs. How's everything going in your new city?
I listen. I ain't been roaming the streets of H-Town yet, but look, it's going down H-Town. As soon as I settle, it's going down H-Town.
It's going down in the H-Town, right?
Yeah.
Going down in the, what is it? What they say? Going down in the H-Town. Well, we'll definitely miss you here in Dallas, and we look forward to seeing you again. Of course, we wish you nothing but the best down in Houston, and we're just excited because we are back, guys. We are back again. It's been a little while, but Tam is more situated now, so we are getting back into these pop culture conversations. We are looking forward to just doing life with y'all on tonight on a special edition. But we're going to get back onto the Tuesday night situation starting next Tuesday, starting at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. So without further ado, Miss Tam, what is on the hot stove tonight?
All right. So we start with the first topic. So guys, if you haven't been under a rock and following formerly known as Twitter, okay, why they call it X, I have no idea. Anyways, there was a viral situation with a young man who said he got his lady a job, a very nice job, making 6 figures. And because of that, he was hoping that this young lady was going to buy him a Rolex watch for his birthday. Now, did that actually happen? No, it actually did not happen. He posted to Twitter, again, X, and says, no, it's not a Rolex, but I'll take this Armani exchange watch. And it looks like that maybe she treated him to some Eddie V's. You can't go wrong with Eddie V's. They have some really good food. But yeah, what do you think about this whole situation? Do you feel like he should be entitled to get a Rolex watch because he helped this young lady get a job?
No. I'll tell you something that I learned in counseling years ago. Unspoken expectations leads to disappointment every time. And it's great that he did something for his lady by helping her get a 6-figure job, but there shouldn't have been any strings attached to that. If you really want to see your woman win and you want to see her get a bag, her own bag at that, then support her in that situation, not expecting anything. So she got you what she wanted to get you, which was an Armani exchange watch, which, hey, listen, it's not a Rolex, but Armani exchange is still a nice watch. It's still a nice brand. I wear nothing but Armani exchange. I like it. So, but nonetheless, there's nothing wrong with the gift that she got him. It would only be wrong if she said that she was going to get him that gift and she ended up not getting him that gift. But I see nothing wrong with it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think likewise. That's, when people do a favor, do you one solid, right? It doesn't mean that they owe you one. It means that they should be doing this just because they want to help you out. Like situations like helping somebody get a job doesn't mean I want a cut of your first paycheck. Like that's not what that situation is supposed to mean. So I know he did it all in fun, but people that were on X were actually saying, no, she owes this young man because he got her the job. Now, I don't think that's the case personally. I think especially if they're in a relationship, you should want to see your partner win. and buying a Rolex, especially when they just got the job, is not a way to see your partner win. That's a car. It's literally a car. There's nothing wrong with buying a Rolex, but let her stack her money just a little bit. Baby steps. She got your money exchange today. Maybe the Rolex will come tomorrow. That's what I got.
True. Not everybody can be hypergamous like Miss Tam herself, who will not date you unless you are a six-figure king. I'm sure. Which and ain't nothing wrong with that. But I also agree with you, because if she just got the job, if she's treating you out for your birthday, it's not a good use of finances if she just got a job and she's buying you a Rolex that's going to be 5 digits worth. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. And so you coming on social media, the wrong place to come, where now you're going to have men and women taking out the pitchforks on this young lady because she didn't get you something. You come looking for sympathy on social media and going to say, oh, not a Rolex, but I'll take it. That's being ungrateful right there. So that's just my take on it, to be honest.
Yeah. And you social media is one heck of a drug, right? You post this stuff and then you intentionally give other people these perspectives that their woman should get their man a Rolex, right? And which is, again, this is fine. I wouldn't mind getting my man a Rolex. If I'm locked in, I'm locked in. Yeah. But not when I first got my, 6-figure job, career, business, or whatever the case may be. Like, when I was first starting out, there's no way I couldn't even get myself one. So there's no way that you're getting the overflow before I do. Okay. You're not gonna do it. But anyways, all right. So that's all I got on this topic. You got anything else to add?
That's it. What we got next? What we talking about next?
So the next little situation. Listen, you said this chick was from Philly, but I don't know. I don't know where she's from.
Wait, when you hear her talk, maybe it's some guys I know, like my boy Terrell. Shout out to my boy Terrell. He's from Chicago, and I'm pretty sure if he just heard someone speak from Chicago based on whatever accent, he would know. Listen, the moment she opened her mouth, I said, "Oh, she's from Philly," because I just know how we talk. So yeah, I think she's from there.
All right, we're gonna let you guys decide where this young lady is from based on what she's talking about. Let's get into it.
About stuff that's outdated. You taking me to a restaurant for the first few dates is very outdated. If we're just meeting up, I don't want to go to the movies. I don't want to go to a restaurant. I don't want to do any of these things as a first date, because that's not me getting to know you. That's not us having genuine conversation.
I'm so glad it stopped right there before it got even heavier. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you want me to start, Tim.
I do.
All right, let's get into it. Me being a woman and on a podcast, I want to just tell everybody, just close down your podcast equipment, just wrap it up, put it in the closet, and go just hang out with your family. I'm just like, it's so annoying when we have people on these podcasts speaking for the masses, right? So in her case, she's saying she doesn't want to go out to the traditional things that you do when you're courting, right? Going out to eat and having conversation over the dinner table. Like, those things are paramount, not just when you're dating, but through fluidly with family, right? Like, even now, so one of the things that my dad instilled with me, like, we couldn't have our phone out at the dinner table. We couldn't watch TV at the dinner table. We had to talk about our day. We had to literally get into the nitty gritty of what's happening in our lives, right? And that's what dinner is. Did we stray so far away that we don't understand what dinner conversation should look like? I'm really confused, but I'm gonna say this: we all have our preferences, right? I'm not the chick that you could take on a coffee date or ice cream date. I know we talked about this. I'm not that chick, right? I'm spending money to get dolled up, my outfit, pay for an Uber, gas to meet you there. I'm spending money to make sure that I look good on your arm. The least you can do is buy me dinner, right? And we have a good conversation with me. But my preferences do not apply to every woman. And the problem is we have too many people, too many women on here making standards for other women. It's just not cool. It's not okay. It's not okay. So if you don't want to go have dinner, what does she want to do? Talk on the phone all day? I don't I don't get it. What you got, Tim?
She sounds pretty silly in my opinion. Where do I even begin? Jeez. So she says that going out to dinner is outdated. First of all, ma'am, let me tell y'all something. Just because a person has a mic in their face does not mean that they are qualified to talk about things that should mirror what your experience should be. Some people just should not have a mic. That young lady from Philly, I guarantee she's from Philly, should not have a mic in her face. Just like you just said, Tam, it's about like you shouldn't influence other women. There's something wrong with that. So having a date, first of all, there's too many reality shows on Bravo with Real Housewives of all these different cities, Beverly Hills, New York, New Jersey, Atlanta, and you see on these different shows that's what they do. On reality shows, they'll go out on these extravagant dates, do the helicopter rides or do the horseback riding and do that. And those are great date ideas. I'm not taking anything away from that. But to say dinner is outdated, a dinner date will always be a classic date. It's classic. It's always gonna be like it's always something positive to go eat. But yo, if I'm gonna be talking and doing all this, yo, we gotta eat. Like that's expounding enough energy. But there's nothing wrong with a man taking a woman to a restaurant for a date. That like when did that become like negative and bad? It doesn't make any sense. So get the mic away from her, please.
I think people just say adverse things to go viral. Maybe I'm start making up some stuff, Tim. Just start saying some crazy stuff so go viral.
Come on. You already listen, if y'all ever see Tam's like Facebook, no. If you ever see Tam's Facebook, she says enough crazy stuff. She says enough crazy stuff. She gets stars off of it. And
listen, that's why I gotta come on here and correct the bad behavior. Gotta clean it up so y'all don't think that's really who I am. It's just for laughs and grins and giggles.
Absolutely. But I don't agree with it. And I just think that she's wrong. Women, if you do not accept this man or a man taking you out to dinner, I would think that going to the movies would be a fruitless date because you don't get to have any type of conversation with people. So going to dinner, I mean, you're supposed to look face to face doing dinner. You're going to be doing dinner with your mate every night. So why not go to dinner?
Yeah. Or look, dinner and the movie. Like, oh, look, I'm dating myself, right? The thing used to be dinner first, and then all right, we got a movie after the dinner. We gonna check that out. We might hold hands inside the movie because we didn't already talk during dinner. So it's not like, all right, I know I'm a little bit comfortable with you, and now we can enjoy the movie and chill, right? So I don't know. These I was gonna say I'm again aging myself. These young folks, I don't know. They just out here muddying the waters. You hear me?
Muddying them, like just making it bad, man. It is. I just don't agree with her though. So ladies, keep accepting that gift, please.
So Tam, we got one last little topic here, and the topic was, what are you teaching your kids right now?
What am I teaching my kids? I think right now I've been teaching my kids a lot about regulating their emotions. That it's okay to express yourself in a respectful way. It's okay to feel. It's okay to feel all of your emotions. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be all of those things, but also understanding that you have to talk about it, but you also have to pray about it too. There's multiple things. We have to teach our children how to pray. We have to teach our children that you have a higher authority that you can go to. Now, going to God and praying is not the end all be all solution. I mean, it is the solution, right? But there's also other things that we can do to get out of situations or to navigate through the situation. God gives us that. So as a kid, what I try to encourage my children, and my wife does too, is that yes, it's come to us, talk about it, express things, because the kids are going through so much when it comes to school, their own personal mental health. They're human beings too. And so really helping them navigate through prayer, helping them navigate through expressing themselves, but also being able to critically think about different situations as well. I was on a podcast, the Dear Son podcast, about 2 months ago.
Mhm.
Shout out to my boy Derek Johns. He has a great podcast called the Dear Son Podcast. So definitely check it out, men and women for that matter. And so he asked a question on the podcast and he asked me, what is something that you wish that your father would have taught you? And I said essentially the same thing. I said that I wish that my father would have taught me how to conduct myself as a man and as a person. Like, I was able to get a lot of soft skills from my mother being a single mom. But there's nothing like getting direction, guidance, and learning how to navigate through life than from a man when you are a young boy. And so I wish that my father would have been there for that. And so I make a conscious effort that whatever I was lacking, I try to give that to my kids. So that's really what I'm teaching. They're super smart kids already. They're brainiacs. They're all smart. That's a blessing and that's great. But when it comes to life skills, those are the things I'm trying to teach them.
I'm right there with you, Tim. And I'm going to start with the biblical piece. Is, one of the things that I'm teaching my son and my daughter right now is just being able to understand serving God doesn't mean that you won't go through trials, right? So teaching them that, I'm teaching them that because I thought the opposite. I thought serving God meant like I was going to get like special treatment and certain things weren't going to happen to me because I served God. So it made me disappointed in God and also made me question God. So some of those things, like I wish my parents would have taught me that. They took me to church, but they didn't teach me relationship, honestly. So I've kind of had to learn that along the way. And then just, mentally, like you said, teaching them about communication, like how to communicate, having that emotional intelligence, being able to communicate when something doesn't feel good. A lot of times, especially for us as Black people, I'm talking about Black people specifically, because I know that's my community, and something that we struggle with is communicating our emotion rather than acting it out, right? When we get angry, we have to act like we're angry rather than being like, yo, you made me mad. Or, when I'm sad, I got to overly be a certain way. And oftentimes, even when people are sad, they use anger. They replace that emotion because the easiest emotion to have is simply anger, right? Some people don't necessarily know how to be happy. They don't know how to communicate it. They don't know how to be it, but they know how to be mad. So right now, like I had a situation with my kids actually just last week. And, my daughter, she refused to say that she was hurt. And it was coming across as angry, right? And I kept saying, like, I had to tell her or just affirm her and give her confirmation that it was okay to be sad, So teaching my kids to be able to not just express one emotion and being able to communicate the emotion when they have it. And the last thing I would say that I'm teaching my kids is just being able to think for me. A lot of parents don't think about this, but you're going to get old one day. And maybe you're going to lose your mind and you cannot think for yourself. So you want to raise your kids to be able to think for you and what's in your best interest. I would hate for parents to not establish that thought process in their kid and for them to be in the hospital laid up and their child is making all of these decisions for them, but they aren't really in your best interest because you haven't established that in them. So that's like the other major piece, is just giving them the tools to be able to think for me, think broader, see bigger, see, see from different perspectives, and look at things holistically rather than just narrow-minded. So I would say those are the things that I'm teaching my kids right now.
I love it. I love it. I really do. I love the last one that you mentioned where you said that you are teaching your kids to think for you and think about you, and your well-being as you get older, as as we all get older, right? We have to think about what the future may hold. And we want our kids to have our best interests at heart, just like we always have theirs. And so what that is doing is, like you said, giving them another outlet to think outside of themselves, because we're all wrapped and clothed in this flesh, which means that we are already inherently selfish. No matter what, no matter how much we love, no matter how much you care for people, we're wrapped in this flesh. So we're naturally selfish people, right? It's only by the Holy Spirit and by the grace of God that we open up our heart to be loving, to be serving, to be giving, and all those things. And we can teach our kids those things early on to be those same things that were instilled in us. We can instill it into them so that they can love their neighbor, even when it's hard. They can love people, love their enemies, even when it's hard. But they show love to their parents, and they care for us by seeing how we care for them. So they don't have to come up to the standard, right, per se. That's not what we're asking them to do. We're just asking them to just kind of think ahead and to be mindful of those things that are going to be important for us down the line. I like that. That definitely is something that we should teach our kids. I agree.
Awesome. All right, Tim, that wraps it up for tonight. That leads us to our final thoughts. What you got?
Final thoughts. On it, honestly, going back to the beginning, unspoken expectations leads to disappointment. So with the whole Rolex thing, if he was expecting a Rolex just because that's what they were talking about, but she ended up getting him an Armani Exchange watch, I would just be grateful that I got something. And talk to your significant other. If you have expectations, just speak on them. Talk through them, communicate with them, so that there's no disappointment. So you're not putting all your business out on social media for people like us to talk about. I mean, seriously, that's number one. Number two, dinner dates are not outdated. They are not lame. They are not clownish. They're not corny. They still work. You still have to get to know someone, and getting to know someone over a meal and breaking bread is still necessary. If you plan on being with that person, you're gonna have dinner with them. You have to look them face to face, eye to eye. You got to make eye contact. That person is gonna have to see you in all these different ways. So it doesn't make sense that's an outdated date. So that's that. And then last thought is really about what we just talked about with parenting. So I would just encourage everybody to find one thing to teach your kid this week. Something. It could be any life skill that that they're going to need. Sit down and talk with your kids, man. Even if it's for 10, 15 minutes. Those 10 to 15 minutes can change a kid's life just by seeing, well, mom and dad are they're not just taking care of me or just financially taking care of things. They really care about me by sitting down, wanting to know about my day, what's going on in my life. And from there, you can instill things in your kids. You got to have a relationship with your kids. As simple as that.
Love that.
How about you? What's your thought?
All right, final thoughts for tonight. I'm so happy to be back. Guys, thank you so much for being patient with us. If you are new here and you love our conversations, go ahead and click that like, follow, or subscribe button. Comment, let us know if you're watching the replay. And if there's something you guys want us to talk about, go ahead and comment that as well. But final thoughts for tonight in terms of this Rolex situation. if you want your woman to buy you a Rolex, I would just say hypergamy is probably the better way to date and marry, just because she has it, okay, or he has it to give, and it's not from a place of poverty or lack. It's a place of overflow and abundance. And it sounds like, brother, you want overflow and abundance. You don't want a money exchange. You want a Rolex. You want a car on your arm is what you want. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I have a Rolex. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. But be realistic. All right. Just be realistic about what you want, who you're with, what they have, what they can do. Right. And like you said, like, we often disappoint ourselves because we're not realistic with what the situation is. And I'm glad, like, he didn't take it serious, but for those that did, like, be for real. Okay. Topic number 2, in terms of this whole dating, dinner dates being played out, like, girl, be for real. Like, are you serious? Like, who doesn't love to get dressed and go to a nice restaurant and be catered to and meet the chef? Like, who doesn't love, like, do I want to, yes, I want to refill. Do I want some wine? Yes. What are your specials? Like, what do you mean? You don't want to do this? Like, girl, I don't, she want to go bowling? Like, what does she want to do? Like, nothing wrong with bowling. Don't come for me. But girl, men, when you're dating, I would suggest you just ask her what she likes to do. And then just don't try to date every woman based on this lady's lens, because I don't know what she's on. Is okay. Anyways, and last but not least, what you're teaching your kids, like, Tim, what you said is so profound. We could probably spend a whole little session talking about, like, how do we correct what was and was not taught to us. That whole situation is a whole conversation within itself. And to Tim's point, I highly implore you to take some time to sit down and really have those conversations with your kids, to really unpack maybe something that you wish you could have had, or your parents could have told you, and really share that information with your kids. And don't just share it. Give them the why behind why you're sharing it. That's one thing. I grew up in a generation where my parents you couldn't ask why. They just tell you what to do. And it was a yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and nothing else, or you're going to get popped, right? So, but we live in a generation where we're healthier, right? And healthier means we're having conversation and communication about the why. So be okay with teaching your kids some things, and then being okay to give them the why behind it. That's all I got.
Sounds good. Thank you for that. Hey, y'all, this has definitely been such a great night. Love all of the responses from Tam. Tam, thank you so much for coming back. Definitely have missed my sis, and definitely miss being on with you. So we're going to definitely rock with this thing. Starting Tuesday night, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. We'll be back at our regular scheduled time here on Facebook Live, here at Tim and Tam Talks Podcast, the Back Pew Conversations. It's going to be a dope season coming up. So we look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday at 8:30 Central. Tam, you got anything else?
Nope. You guys enjoy your night. We'll see you next week.
All right. Peace. We out. My wife and I first started dating. She bought me some flowers.
She romanced you.
She romanced me.
Got it.
Is it weird to you? I mean, I'm still kind of trying to get comfortable with it.
Did she hold the door for
Man.
you?
Yo, no, we're not.
I could see a pedicure.
Would you?
Depends on his feet.
That could be Mara's feet. And you
No way, you about to be cutting up my hands.
Yo, what's going on? This is
The Tim and Tam talk. All right, look, bring it home. Let's get into this.
We're gonna have a lot of great conversations.